Have you ever just looked at a giant skyscraper, or maybe a super complex app on your phone, or even a huge global event like the Olympics, and thought to yourself, how? Just how did they do that? It really does feel like magic, doesn't it? But I promise you, it's not.
Yeah, these incredible achievements, they don't just happen by accident. They don't just magically appear out of a chaotic mess of ideas. No, every single one of them relies on a really powerful, structured framework that guides them from being just an idea all the way to becoming a reality. So, what's the secret?
Well, the secret is a map, a very, very special kind of map called project management. And in this explainer, we're going to unfold this map together and show you exactly how it turns even the most ambitious, craziest ideas into something structured, something achievable.
Okay, so let's get official for a second. What is project management? It's the application and integration of 49, count them, 49 interconnected processes. Now, don't let that number scare you. Just think of them as 49 specific steps or maybe landmarks on our map that when you follow them, they guide any project from its starting point all the way to its final destination.
And what's really cool is that every single journey you take with this map, it doesn't matter if you're building a backyard shed or a literal space station, it follows the exact same 5 distinct stages. These are like the main continents on our world map.
That's right, just 5. In the world of project management, they're called process groups, and they pretty much act as the logical chapters for our entire adventure from start to finish.
And check this out. This is where it gets fascinating. If you look at where all the work actually happens, out of those 49 processes we talked about, a whopping 24 of them, that's nearly half, are all in the planning stage. And that tells you something absolutely critical. A successful journey is all about drawing a really detailed, thoughtful map before you even think about taking your first step.
So here they are, the 5 stages of our journey. First up is initiating. This is where you get the official green light to even start the mission. Then comes the big one, planning, where you draw out the entire map. After that, it's executing. You're actually walking the path, doing the work. And happening at the same time is monitoring and controlling. You're constantly checking your compass, making sure you're still on course. And finally, closing, where you officially complete the mission and, celebrate reaching your destination.
Of course, a map is pretty much useless if you don't have the right gear for the journey, right? Well, in project management, that essential toolkit has a really simple acronym, ITTOs.
ITO stands for inputs, tools and techniques, and outputs. And it's this beautifully simple little system that applies to every single one of those 49 processes. You take something in, your inputs. You do something with it, your tools and techniques, and you get a result, your outputs. That's it.
So let's look at some common inputs. Your starting gear. You've got the project management plan. That's your master map. You've got organizational process assets. Think of these like journals from past trips full of priceless lessons. Then there's enterprise environmental factors. That's the stuff you can't control, like the weather or the terrain. And finally, project documents. That's your personal logbook just for this journey.
And this slide right here brilliantly illustrates one of the most important cycles in any project. You start with work performance data. These are just raw facts, like I see a cloud. Then that becomes work performance information, where you add context like, okay, that's a dark cloud and it's moving this way. And finally, you get work performance reports, which give you actionable insights. It's definitely going to rain, we need to find cover. See? We turn raw data into a useful forecast.
Now, the outputs from all this work often lead to things called change requests. This is how a project manager actively steers the journey. A corrective action gets you back on the right path if you've wandered off a bit, but a preventative action, that's when you see a potential problem up ahead, like a washed-out bridge, and you adjust your course now to make sure you stay on track later.
So, who is this person holding the map and checking the compass and steering the ship? Well, every great adventure needs an expert guide. And in the world of project management, that person is the project manager. The official definition is actually super clear. The project manager is the one person assigned to lead the team and take full responsibility for getting to the project's destination. They're the captain. The buck stops with them. But what makes a great guide? The Project Management Institute defines it with this really cool thing called the talent triangle. A truly great project manager needs 3 core skills. Technical project management, that's knowing how to read the map and use all the tools. Strategic and business management, that's understanding why this journey is so important in the first place. And finally, leadership, the magic ingredient, the ability to inspire your team to follow you through anything.
Now, let's zoom in on that leadership slice for a minute, because it is so much more than just being the boss. A truly great guide knows how to pick the right leadership style for the right situation.
And there's a huge difference here. Management is about directing and maintaining. It's keeping things running smoothly, making sure the train stays on the tracks. Leadership, though, that's about guiding and inspiring your team toward a shared vision. It's about making people want to get to the destination.
And there are so many ways to lead. A servant leader is all about clearing the path for their team. A transactional leader focuses on clear goals and rewards. A transformational leader inspires the team to be better than they thought they could be. And a laissez-faire leader, they basically trust their expert team to find the way themselves. The best guides, they don't just pick one style and stick with it. They adapt to the team, the terrain, and the needs of the journey itself.
So, before we wrap up our journey, let's just quickly recap the key landmarks we've seen today. Number 1, every project is a journey with 5 clear stages. 2, the most important part is the planning phase. That's where you draw the map. 3, every single step uses that simple toolkit of inputs, tools, and outputs. 4, the project manager is our expert guide. And 5, great leadership is all about inspiring the team, not just directing them.
And that really brings us to the end. This whole framework, this map, it's not just for building skyscrapers. You can use it to plan a vacation, to learn a new language, to launch that side hustle you've been dreaming about. So the only question left is this. Now that you have the map, what amazing project are you going to manage next?